Alright everyone, welcome to another game by Mikash. This is a 1 versus 1 on Greentooth Forge. Here you can see Itza playing as the Warlock sprinting out of base, wishing me good luck and have fun, because this is yours truly, Mikash33, as the Chaos Sorcerer. So tomorrow, by the time this goes up, depending on your region, maybe today, the 27th of March, will be the next monthly Rumble tournament. So this was a bit of a precursor to that for me to just get out there and let everyone know about who follows this, who maybe hasn't been on the site to follow that. Pretty standard builds going on here at the beginning of this game as well, but we'll be getting into the reasons that we're casting this game and everything in another moment. A lot to catch up on going on, including a new patch since the last time I posted a video, which was unfortunately due to me having to relocate addresses. Hope to get the Ordio Malice, which will be the next video out, probably the next week and a half or so. Some slight changes to the Chaos Performers, so as you can see we're getting some power here, and he's just getting his power node built here as well. So Chaos, the people from my first video, they've had some changes. You're not going to see them out on the field much here, but Plague Marines did have their damage over time reduced from 1.35 to 1 damage per second. Then you have the build time on Plague Marines, which is increased by several seconds. Autocannon Havocs have had their damage reduced by an entire 5 points. You see him taking cover into the building here. Down from 60 to 55 per hit with the autocannon. And the aspiring champion for the Chaos Raptors has had his price increased from 80.25 to 100.25. So that's a 20 requisition increase. First real engagement here where people are hiding in buildings. The Warlock getting pressed in against these Chaos Heretics. Chaos Heretics, despite some nerfs in the most recent patches, you can see here, when doubled, even against the early battles of melee, can have their effectiveness, as I managed to push off the Warlock in his attempt to sort of just come in and scout and see what's going on in the matchup. There's a few key moments in this matchup that I want to point out for beginners that you'll be seeing here. First of all, this early power bash, considering he knows my whole army is nearby, seems kind of poorly timed, but he sticks to it, and we'll see how that turns out for him. Doombolt's coming in here from the Chaos Sorcerer. He pretty much misses them. Does get a nice suppression in on the rest of the squads, though. Retreats the wrong squad first. Dire Avengers probably should have been getting out of there before the Banshees. They could have stuck in a little longer. But the Heretics going down to 3 models. Probably could have taken some more. But you can see these guys don't want to stick around anymore because they're getting flanked. That part is definitely good because they don't have their upgrades, so they're not able to sprint on their own. This was a waste by me, because that's just a spent Heretic worth of Doom Bolts being sent in there to really do nothing. If they had been lower on models or lower on hit points, then it would have been worthwhile perhaps to get those Doom Bolts in, maybe take a model, but at full health, pretty much just wasting your goods there. You'll see this is not firing here right now. That is because I do not have vision currently as the player on this until these Heretics get in here, open up the bubble, and then you can see they get their fire in. So nice way to sneak up setup teams on people that you know are in a certain area that you can't see anymore, is to do that, because the teams will not fire and give away their position. Even with his bubble here, you can see the Champion's Robe. He gets torn down pretty quickly. This is a important engagement for these Heretics to not be part of based on their hit point total here. You can see I'm able to lead the Banshees right into the turret as well, not the turret, the setup team here as well. And then he goes in for the strength upgrade, the aspect of strength. A little better at dealing with the damage reductions that come from having heavy armor from Chaos here. This is a mistake by me. In the face of these two squads, you really needed to be focusing on getting the hell out of there as opposed to dealing with any one. But that is how you kill a setup team. Had I suppressed these Banshees first, maybe they wouldn't have gotten in on that kill. He would have thrown the nade, I could have retreated out. But perfect execution of how to kill a setup team right there. Itza gets his own setup team actually out on the field here. You can see kind of farting around in base right now, Guardian Weapon team. These Dire Avengers, though, despite that great victory for them, are caught in a pretty bad place here with CSM and retreat path, dealing melee. But he does keep the pressure up over here on this power. At this point in the game, I was actually starting to wonder whether or not I should be putting nodes, or not nodes, but certainly generators here on this side. This squad does not get their upgrade in time here. Okay, you see it's coming through, and they get horribly flanked, but unfortunately for them, they are pretty much doomed. This setup team, because they were not focusing the melee, as I mentioned before, focusing the melee, the troops actually advancing on you can be very important for the life of the setup team. Sort of roaming engagement in mid here, you can see Warlock Destructor taking out a single model from Heretics, but taking a good amount of damage to them as well. And I sort of throw them back into it just to suppress him and then get the hell out of there, since they've already lost too many models. Sorcerer, not especially capable at handling the Warlock 1v1. You can see here level 2, 682 hit points. Warlock at 840 at level 1. The Champion Robe providing a good portion of that. No upgrades yet here for the Chaos Sorcerer. Although with the setup team, Warp would be a good choice if I don't want to go for Raptors, because then I can get the Sorcerer stuck in with them. Champion Robe going off here. Eldar Blob approaching as well, so there's the 2 range squads and these Banshees. Just look at the damage the Banshees deal to the Chaos Sorcerer here. They pretty much tear him down in that single knockdown attack, but he manages to squeeze his way out of there. And Heretics are really good, only good for this now in engagements that size. If they're not set up with grenade launchers, and that's getting in, suppressing something that's trying to advance, getting out. In this case, they had to be retreated because there was just the chance for grenades was too high. You can see I've gone tier 2 very quickly in comparison to my opponent here. He's actually floating like crazy. This isn't anything I want to point out to people. That magic number of 125, when you get it, very important to push that advantage when you have it. He gets caught up in coming after my gen farm, which, you know, definitely is an important part of winning in 1v1 games, but it's managing all of these things at once that's so important. You can see here that this is sort of cost him a lot of models, Dire Avenger Squad, and they're almost taken down. I do lose some Heretics fighting back here, but the leader stays intact, and I do get a tier 2 squad out. You can see he still hasn't gone tier 2 himself. Okay. This choice here is because of the Guardian Weapon team still in the field. The fact that there are squishy units like Dire Avengers poking around means that Bloodletters are very effective. They actually grenaded themselves and didn't retreat in time. You see that sort of pearl play in some replays you'll see on here of a team with a grenade, such as Dire Avengers, throwing it at their feet and retreating away. Well, you got the first part right, but not the second, so... And remember to just spam that X button on the unit when you have it. You can see he gets stuck in here when he really shouldn't. Bloodletters in retreat path, CSM in retreat path, who's Eternal War. Not going to be coming back from that one. CSM going in, sort of recognizing that this is going on. Get the Bloodletters to do the one thing they were brought in to do, and that is sneak up on setup teams. Look at the damage. Nasty damage. Heretics in the later game pretty much only able to get stuck in when they have these guys leading them here. They're aspiring champions. Certainly do stand out in the squad since they're that much beefier than the others. The detection is it's super important in games against certain races. Eldar is one of them that it is really nice to have. Rangers could have hit the field during this game, any number of other units like that. You can see I've gone for Chains of Torment here in the Robes of Torment. This is to catch out these Banshees and also set up Dark Flames for that exact combo. Because I noticed he was blobbing quite a bit, so he does retreat out of it very quickly and doesn't take too much damage. Doesn't get pincered by all this melee, so he ends up in a good place because of it. But I can see he's a bit vulnerable to melee, so these CSM are getting Mark of Corn. Heretics on the other side, capping as well. The other great use for Heretics at this point is capping, because they have a detector. Even on their own, they can at least get the idea of what's out there. So in addition to tearing down the farm, you can see me decapping this as well. I don't intend on sticking around to cap it at this point, but it's important to at least get the decap in. And then you can see the other thing these guys were brought in for at this point, which is tank this, because they're going to draw all the fire here, as you see. get knocked down by Banshees. They have that invulnerability. They phase shift away, walk away so that they're not taking the ability's destructive retreat sort of consequence there. And then I'm able to kite these Banshees out and away and completely wipe them. Robe to Torment, making the rest of this army really can't do anything because those Dire Avengers without Banshee support are going to get wrecked by CSM. You can see now that he's tier 2, he's picking up a Falcon. I've been in tier 2 for quite some time and I don't have any AV, but sitting on quite a bit of power at this point in the game as well. And all I've lost is a setup team and a lot of Heretic models. Mind you, quite a few Heretic models. Had to rebuild this gen farm because of the bash, as you can see the bodies of the dead defending it here as well. But the game is firmly in my hand at the triple cap. I've been using the units to side cap a lot better than my opponent has, especially where he hasn't had a roster card filled up for as long as I have. And then this is the point in the game where Chaos can really shine because of, pretty close, shrines. And when you have that position in the late game, not as soon as you can build one, not as soon as tier 2 hits, and then you think to yourself, well, I'm sure I can probably defend this area now with a shrine. These are only meant for when you really feel like you have an advantage. Which is interesting at this point, as you can see, because right now I don't have an answer to an AV. These guys are able to deal with their melta pistol and such, some good damage on rear armor. But this is not a complete solution to AV, what I have on the field here right now. So I feel like stealthing them might be a good option. Heretics a little tankier when they're spread out, throwing stuff like grenades. And then I decide, well, instead let's get some Bloodletter spawn in here. But he manages to not evade these attacks and show his rear armor to me, so I'm able to wipe the Falcon. And then sort of re-support anything that's on the move here. Worship, bringing these guys back up to full. You know, CSM not so lucky, but they're quite a bit tankier. They can deal with a lot more damage. At this point, I mean, he's really trying to fight an uphill battle. He hasn't put up more than the single gate that he has in base, because his red, well, actually he's got a fair amount of red, but he's not using that to his advantage, and that's one of the important things about Eldar, especially on a map like this where there's no real natural VP. You gotta split it up. Yeah, and come on, you know, the Salt is comes in a little bit here at the end, but I mean, to be fair, he hasn't done anything other than stray from the path of Falcons. Hasn't been able to keep any of his other units going. He was very late going to tier 2, and didn't really push the advantage that came from that power bash, just as I was coming tier 2. Because normally, as your opponent is going tier 2, although you'll never really know this, is the best time to bash them. That late tier 1 period where maybe they tech up, and then all of a sudden you destroy their power and they're not able to get anything back, that is the time. Grenades coming in here, they do enough from these Bloodletters, but still forced to retreat is Dire Avengers, who can't really deal with all this semi-tanky melee on the field, picking their targets. An unupgraded Chaos Dreadnought is more than enough to help repel this advance here. Falcon can deal with one of these on their own, considering how handily I was able to take down the Falcon before with CSM as well in the Market Horn setup. I really wasn't too concerned, especially with double Heretic support for repairs.
We have 200 points remaining.
So he's the one who's forced to get back out of there. Falcons, I fear, they're really something that's helpful to the cause of the Eldar player, but they have to be used in conjunction with so many other things. You know, a quick tier 3 increases their survivability tenfold. So if you have a massive infantry army, it can definitely help that. And you know, we'll talk about stuff like that when we go over the Eldar when their video comes up. But his lack of additional units and just, you know, sitting on all this requisition and power, can afford anything in tier 2 right now, just about with that requisition pool. Can easily also go tier 3, has the red nearly for a nuke as well, whereas I've been using my red quite a bit more. You see now he's finally starting to get around the sides of the map, get a peek at what's going on. Repurchases the Warlock who has channeling runes, okay? Where I controlled so much of the map, it's not hard to figure out where he ended up when, you know, parts of it start going dark. So, with Plague Marines coming out on the field, I'm able to push that anti-vehicle quite a bit more. I don't even think I need to get a shot off here, because this may have been another friendly fired grenade throw from these Dire Avengers. Dire Avengers that were repurchased as well, let's not forget. He does wipe a squad at some point. But yeah, Falcon's a smoking wreck. Mark of Corn CSM level 3 on rear armor. You know, it can be pretty brutal. You can see that even though he's taken some upper parts of the field and was out exploring, he did not put down any other gates. You know, in these areas perhaps they would have been helpful. Or even right close to the VP, just tucked away in here. But meanwhile, Mark of Zine Shrines firing bolts. The Dreadnought out here as the deterrent from most attacks with the Heretic support is good enough to protect that point from just about anything but a full onslaught of a quick burst of new units that, you know, he's struggling to get the ability to create. But at this point I feel like I need to push the other advantage that I have, which is VP. So trying to put these bloodletters just outside of here worship range and what have you to keep them from being seen.
The Prof world is our home, and we are
And just taking some shots from Plague Marines there.
We have 100 points remaining.
Their infantry damage reduced a bit, but it's still pretty powerful. Another Dark Flames, because you can see I'm really just burning my red to prevent him from getting any more caps here. And you know, drops another squad right there of Dire Avengers from that burst damage on the autocannon.
A discouraging reversal.
So remember, kids, always take up to tier 2 when you can. So as I had mentioned before, there's going to be the tournament tomorrow. Make sure to check out bbbos's page if you haven't already. I believe he's the one who is streaming the tournament. You can check him out on Twitch and find it that way. Alright, and as usual, check me out on Reddit, Twitch TV, or YouTube, and leave me comments. See ya.